What does Christmas mean for us as born-again believers? My name is Ernest Wamboye and you're watching CITAM, Church Online. Christmas is a time when we believers remember that Jesus Christ has come down on earth and God has sent his Son so that he can die for our sins. Because man cannot achieve the righteousness of God, God has sent himself to come and achieve that righteousness. And God came down not as an adult, but he came as a baby boy. And he came, he lived life just like us, and he lived a sinless life unlike us, and later he died on a cross, taking up the punishment for our sins. But it is the birth of Jesus that really stands out. What do we learn concerning Jesus and concerning Christianity during this Christmas season? We've looked at a few lessons over the past week, and today we want to look at the fact that God is sovereign. Christmas reminds us of the sovereignty of our God. When you look at how God came about in bringing his Son on earth, he chose Mary, a young girl who was a virgin. She was a sinner just like you and I, but yet God in his sovereignty chose one of us who was a sinner and decided to bestow on her the grace to carry the Messiah. It was a virgin birth, meaning that God's sovereignty did not require Mary to have sexual intercourse with anyone. And this shows us that God's plans are not limited by human wisdom. God is a sovereign God. During that same time, in fact, a bit earlier than that, John, Jesus' cousin, was born through Mary's relatives, Elizabeth and Zachariah. Now, Elizabeth and Zachariah were well advanced in their years and were beyond the age of bearing children. But they had been a faithful couple who had trusted in the Lord. If you read the book of Luke, chapter 1, you will see all these things that Luke the doctor wrote about them. And despite them being well advanced in years, they must have given up on having a child. Yet God's sovereignty shows again. And despite their age, God comes through, gives them a son, and says that this son will be great. He will be the forerunner of the Messiah, Jesus Christ. He will be his cousin, and he will play a vital role, not just as a family member, but he will go ahead of Jesus and he will declare the way of the Lord. He will clear the path for Jesus to come, and that's exactly what John did. And when Elizabeth and Zachariah received this message, truly enough, it came to pass. Zachariah did not believe it. Initially, he doubted, and the Lord said that he would be mute. And indeed, the angel of the Lord made him mute, and as soon as the child was born, his mouth was opened. What does this show us? That even when we think in our own human understanding that things cannot work out, God is sovereign. God is in charge. We know that Jesus Christ was born in the lineage of David because the prophecy said that he would be from the Davidic line. And yet, Joseph was a relative of David, a descendant of David. David was one of his ancestors. And because of this, Jesus is born through Mary, but Mary is married to Joseph. And in doing that, God ensures that Jesus Christ is an ancestor of David. In fact, we are told that Joseph wanted to bail out on Mary because he did not understand what was going on. He must have figured that Mary must have been unfaithful or cheated on him. But yet, God in his sovereignty spoke to Joseph and the prophecy was fulfilled. There are so many Easter eggs that you can find in this story of Christmas, where you find that the sovereignty of God supersedes all that man had planned. Much later, when Jesus was born, you see that Herod wanted to kill him, and yet the Lord warns the parents in a dream, and they leave that place and they go down to Egypt. God is sovereign. The sovereignty of God comforts us. The sovereignty of God lets us know that God is in charge and we have nothing to fear. And because God is sovereign, trust Him this Christmas. Allow him to be sovereign over your life. Allow him to disassemble your plans and reassemble them. Allow God to be God. Thank you very much for watching. Please like this video, share it, and give it to a friend or family so that it may bless them and help them trust in God's sovereignty. My name is Ernest Wamboye, and you're watching CITAM Church Online.